Oh. Well, I hope everyone can hear me, or whatever. Alright, well. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hangout Podcast. I'm alone today, but that's kind of... That's what happens when you let the other host or your guest or whatever. That's what happens when you let them know last minute. So yeah, that's what happened. I let him know last minute I was doing this, and he had other stuff to do. So that's on me. Now it was Kami, by the way, the guy who was here last week was when I did the last episode. I don't remember. I have a horrible memory. Anyway, so welcome. So a couple things. I guess E3 has officially started. I'm not watching it yet because the only one I'm really excited for is the Nintendo event, which is very weird to say considering it's Nintendo. I mean, last year kind of proved it, like how unexpected Nintendo was gonna get with the E3, because everyone's like, Breath of the Wild's the only good game for the Switch, so no one was excited for. I don't know how excited everyone was last year around this time. So, but then everything changed when the Metroid Prime teaser attacked. So now this year, I don't remember when it is. I know it's either Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. I'm not too sure, but we'll see when it gets there, and I'll try to report it next week. Hopefully this becomes weekly. I'll say this now. Hopefully this doing a podcast thing becomes a weekly event. I'll see how work goes whenever I get there. But yeah, we'll see. So nonetheless, next week I hope to report on E3 as a whole next week, or next Saturday evening ish. Maybe I'll see what it said. Really, all I wanted, like I said, the only thing I'm really looking forward to anyway is Nintendo, because Metroid Prime 4 is a game I think everyone's been looking forward to for a year roughly. So we'll see if we get a release date on that. That's one thing I want, is a release date. By the way, so I can read chat better, I have my iPad here, so if it gets echoey, let me know so I can adjust that or whatever. So anyway, and another thing that has been announced is Super Smash Brothers, and that's also a game I want to know when we could get a release date on it and know who's kind of in the game. I've said this before in the past on at least my Twitter and to friends of mine, that I would like to see Bomberman into the game, just to come in and be playable, because I grew up playing Bomberman. So that's one character I would like to see in Smash Brothers. They don't have to add anything else. They can keep the game as it was from the Wii U version, and I'd be totally fine just as long as they add Bomberman in it. Now, granted, I would like to see some improvements and whatnot, but Bomberman that would be the icing on the cake. Bomberman would be the cake itself. So that's one thing I would be excited for. So we'll just see what happens. I hope it's good this week. And also, what it was announced since... Well, I don't know if it was announced since I last recorded, or I don't even remember when the trailer came out, but Pokemon Let's Go. I don't play Pokemon Go, so I wouldn't really care or anything about it. So, once I found out it's just like the Pokemon Go app, I don't care. Once that became a thing, and once I found out that's what it was, so by all means, if you guys want to play it, go ahead. I'm not gonna stop you at all. Let me see. Oh, the one thing I do want to see is kind of two things, or I guess a few other things. Um, I would like to see if Cuphead will come to the Switch and PlayStation, and I want to see the release date for Bendy and the Ink Machine. Now I've heard some things now. I've done some gameplay on Cuphead. You can find it on my YouTube channel if you want to see it. Now Bendy and the Ink Machine, for those that don't know, it's a horror puzzle game. Now that's all I know about it. I haven't played it yet, but that's something as soon as I heard it was going to be able to come to consoles when the game's completed, I got kind of excited for it. So I want to see it when the release for that comes. Now, I guess a question to you guys: if it comes to all platforms, PlayStation, Xbox, and the Switch, would you guys want me to stream it? Because if so, I could get it for the PlayStation. If not, then it doesn't matter. But let me know if you guys want me to stream it or not, and I will, because that's one game I actually do want to play and see what it looks like. Because I've gotten into kind of horror games recently. I started playing The Binding of Isaac, and it's a dungeon crawler, and it's kind of it's family friendly when it comes to being creepy. It's not. If you don't like violence and creepy, scary tones, Isaac is not. The Binding of Isaac is not meant for you. Yeah, so I want to give Bendy the Ink Machine a shot, because it also has a similar art design in terms of retro cartoon look, just like Cuphead has. Now, granted, it looks kind of more modern, and it has a very creepy yellowish, blackish tintish thing to it, and it looks creepy and scary, and that's something I want to look forward. That's something I want to look forward to playing. So yeah, that's kind of what I want to see at this E3. Really, those four things. But otherwise, I could really care less. Microsoft had theirs today. I was half tempted to look up anything. The only thing I heard about was Anthem, and I've not heard good things about it. I've heard it was not a good presentation. So I'll just take people's word for it, because I'm not gonna watch it. And Anthem looks like it could have a lot of bad things happen to it, like what Destiny's going through now. It'll come out, and since it's owned by EA, this is probably a huge thing that'll most probably happen, is it'll have tons of DLC or expansion, because it's going to be an MMO, and probably going to have lots, and it's probably just going to be littered with microtransactions, and that'll make the game garbo. No thank you. It does not look fun to me at all. I had a cousin last year around this time. He showed me a trailer for it. The E3 presentation of it last year. I think it was last year. And I told him I'm getting Destiny vibes from it. He's like, no, it's not. I'm not. It's not going to be like Destiny. I'm like, no, it's going to be like Destiny. It's totally going to be like Destiny. It's going to come out and have tons of DLC and have probably the more microtransactions. In fact, you'll probably have to progress the game with microtransactions, if we've learned anything from Star Wars Battlefront from last year. So, well, we'll just see what happens from there with Anthem. Yeah, I'm not excited for that game at all. I don't. No, that does not look like a fun game at all. Heck, I'm probably in a few weeks. I'm probably gonna get rid of Destiny too, because it's not worth having. It's not a good. It's. I'll need to find new games to stream, of course, but Destiny 2 is getting old really quick, and it's having a new thing come out at the end of this year, and I'm not liking that. I'm not. So, no, it's. Don't expect me to play Destiny 2 Forsaken when it comes out, because I'll probably get rid of Destiny 2 by then. Yeah, my PlayStation's over in that area. So, yeah, I don't see myself playing the next expansion, the next thing for it, because Destiny doesn't seem worth it to me at all. I'm losing interest again. I can see why people don't like it at all. So, well, that's kind of all I want to say about E3 for right now. But what do you guys want to see from E3? What are you guys even gonna? Are any of you gonna even see E3? Just let me know, and I'll go for, and we can discuss it next week and see what we all thought about it. So, what I was gonna do if Kami was gonna be here was talk about likes, our favorite, either favorite games or anime or whatever. But since he's not here, I'm just gonna kind of talk about a few shows I guess a few of the shows I do or do not like, because I might as well just talk about something. Well, there's this one show that we actually joke about a lot, Kami and I, that we saw this video on YouTube about this show called Chaos Dragon. And oh man, they ragged on this show. Like, they showed no mercy on how terrible this show was. And it's called Chaos Dragon, and it's awful. It's visually probably one of the worst shows I've seen. Intentionally or unintentionally, it's like I see lots of shows where they talk about how this show is the most hideous thing ever, and then it's pure just ugly CGI that you see in like from '95 or something. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that is hideous, don't get me wrong. Like Joseph in the Promised Land, or Joshua in the Promised Land, and a few other horribly animated religious films. I've seen a few videos of those recently, and they do not look at all good at all. But the Chaos Dragon, it has one thing over them in terms of ugliness compared to the others. They're at least consistent with their ugliness. They stay the same. They're like on one level playing field. It doesn't improve, but it doesn't get worse. Chaos Dragon has probably the most potential that I've seen get flushed down the toilet very quickly. I mean, it is. I saw the whole show. I don't know what happened behind the scenes of the making of the show, because it's a hideous show to look at. It's probably the most generic shonen I've ever seen. It's not very good at all in terms of just everything. Dialogue is just, I don't remember anything. Like the next, like within the hour after finishing the show, I didn't remember anything said about what the characters said, about what the characters did. they were just, the characters were boring and everything. The thing is, it had potential to be good, which is probably what made it worse. If a show fails and it had no potential, then there's nothing more to, then it's like, okay, it's just bad. But if a show had potential and then died and just ended, that makes it worse, because you could have done something with it and you didn't do anything with it. So that's what made the show bad, because it falls similar to the shows of like Dragon Ball or Naruto or Black Clover or My Hero Academia at this time, where it's an action show meant for, yeah, it's just meant to be just a silly action show, and with a easy to digest storyline, but the odds are it's gonna end with the power of friendship or something. One of my least favorite cliche things, and finishing off something with the power of love and friendship, and I'll talk about that actually here in a minute, because that's something that severely annoys me. And it's, anyway, but the one thing that this show does is the main character gets this ability where he can summon this thing called the Red Dragon, and it gives him ultimate power to defeat his enemies. However, he has to kill a very close friend of his, someone he cares for. So he, in a dark, twisted, comedic way, is he has to literally use the power of friendship to beat his enemies by literally killing his friends and family. And that's a tragic, terrible thing. But and you could do stuff with that. That's something you could go and explore and see how to use, like, you'd have some conflict, even if it's generic, oh, blah, 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 generic drama or whatever. It's still something. It's something I don't really see in shows that much anymore, or I don't see in shows generally, is, yeah, I have to kill my friends in order to kill my enemies. And it's like, oh, they could do something with it. That's, like, they could go places with it. Nope. All of his friends are like, oh, yeah, we could totally just, hey, kill me to kill this enemy. They literally don't value their lives. This kid's friends don't care about themselves at all. They don't value their lives. They're more willing to kill enemies that could do nothing in the future if they just win whatever war they're in, or whatever. Nothing. It means nothing. That power is just another power to have, just to have it. It's just to be dark just for the sake of being dark, which doesn't sound like a bad thing, but when it has nothing to follow it, then it doesn't really matter. So when that's the case, when it doesn't matter, then why have that in the first place? I don't know. But it also had the opportunity to attack the power of love and the power of friendship and magic, saving the day with love and friendship, because it has been a huge anime and other genres, other kind of stuff suffers this too, where the story, the writers have nowhere else to go. They've pinned themselves in a place. It's like, why don't we just end the series with love and friendship? And that's such a bad trope and cliche that when Chaos Dragon came around with that ability, it's like, oh, they could actually expand and kind of make a satire of it and say it's dumb and here's why. It doesn't work out. They could actually make it work in a way that kind of challenges the audience a little bit. But they didn't do anything with it. Now, I mentioned that the show had bad animation. Oh man, there's it's terrible. Like, it doesn't seem. First of all, there's CG. Now, I don't mind CG in my shows. Well, okay, I hate it when CG is vehicles. I hate CG vehicles in cartoons. It annoys me when I see it. It's like, oh, there's a CG car. Takes me out of the show for like 2 minutes because I just get mad. It's like, ugh. So anyway, it just annoys me. And then, but man, it's because it's usually terrible when you see a CG car. Or CG vehicles as a whole. It's usually sticking out like a sore thumb. It's like it has the opposite of Belle in the animated Beauty and the Beast, where everyone else is just wearing a brownish. They weren't wearing blue. Belle wore blue, and it's to contrast, saying, "Oh, here's Belle, the main character, versus everybody else," and that's a good thing. That's usually a good thing in shows like that. For Chaos Dragon, the CG is so jarring. It is so awful. It looks like it belongs in the 90s. This show looks like it's come from different years of animation. And the CG comes from the 90s and it goes up until currently. And I don't know what Silverlink was thinking with this show. I don't know anything behind this show. For those of you who don't know, Silverlink made shows like Baka and Test and the Fate franchise and probably others I'm not aware of. But they were just this is one of those shows where it's back to the animation before I go on that. The animation was it's like you can tell none of the characters look like they belong there. They look like somebody photoshopped these characters into one show. They look like they belong in different shows. They look like, oh, we'll pull characters from this show, from that show. Ooh, people like that. We'll pull all these characters into one show. And that's just how it looks. The world building is awful because even if the characters look like they belonged in the same show, which they don't, the world building is so terrible that none of the characters look like they belong there. Anyway, some characters look like they're from different time periods of history. In fact, there's a literal, like, all these characters look like they come pre 1700s. A lot of them do. They look like they belong in a mythical time period before the 1700s. However, there's one character, and once again, this is kind of jarring, where it's a robot. It's a literal robot. And they don't explain why he's there. No explanation. They don't say anything about why this robot is there other than he is there. And I've heard rumors, actually, from this video I talked about earlier, where the creators played a game, like something similar to what we call Dungeons and Dragons here. And if anyone's familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, you get to create your own characters and have them play in a board game as long as it... Now, here's the thing. As long as it fits the world, it makes sense. Like, if you're going to do a world with the wizards, you're going to have stuff with magic and mythical creatures and stuff. Or if you're just going to have... whatever. I don't know. I don't play Dungeons and Dragons. That's as far as my knowledge will go. But the problem is, this show... if that's the case, that's what this show feels like. It feels like they got together, somebody played D&D, and decided to make a show out of it, and that's what this show feels like. But poorly constructed. It was poorly made. Okay, I just wanted to make sure if you guys could hear me or not, because I don't know if you guys can hear me. because I don't know if anyone's watching, so I'm getting no feedback. So if you can hear me, please let me know. That's why I did that just now, because I don't know if anyone can hear me. So yeah, that's the problem with Chaos Dragon. It feels like everything's t- pulled together, put together, and in a meshy mess. This is one of those shows that I feel like I want to know the history behind it. I want to see why this show is garbage. Why the show looks like hideousness. Why the show is so generic, because it feels like it could have been way better than it should have been. Way better. And it doesn't. It's terrible. It's boring and terrible. And it does nothing with what it has. And whatever good comes out of this show, it's gone. It goes nowhere. Nothing happens. So that's what bothers me about Chaos, right? That's what makes it one of the worst shows for me. Another terrible show is the show called Mirai Nikki, and it's basically the best way to describe it. And I'll give a little history behind this too. It's basically Battle Royale, the movie, and it's people are put together in this contest to basically become God, and whoever wins becomes God. But it's a kill-a-thon, so you have to whoever is the whoever is the winner is also whoever is the survivor. So whoever survives not getting killed becomes God. Which sounds like, oh, you mean 12 people around the world? No, 12 people in Japan, and Japan only. Where it's like how is this show loved by everybody again? The premise alone sounds pretty stupid. And this show is basically almost battle royale, except predicting the future with cell phones. That's literally it. You can predict opponents' moves with whatever communication device they have. Some people have scrolls. Some people, a 3-year-old has a coloring book, which is, I don't know, like, saying it out loud actually sounds very stupid. Actually, to the point of hilarity. Yeah, now that I say that out loud, yeah, it's terrible, and the thing is, the guy who created it said he didn't watch Battle Royale, which is if that's true, which I don't believe it whatsoever. Yeah, I talk with my hands. Which I believe it not whatsoever. But if it is true, if he did not see the movie Battle Royale, which is basically a movie where kids kill each other to death, and it's basically what the Hunger Games became, where kids kill each other and whoever is the winner is triumphant and whatever. People are psycho. There's some people who are psycho, people who don't want to do it, blah blah blah, yada 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 yada. I'm gonna yada yada a bunch of stuff of this show, but yeah, they kind of just like don't care. He says it's very not based off that, which is very convenient that his work just so happens to be like Battle Royale. And unless that, which I highly doubt, because it looks like it was made in the 80s or 90s, but unless Battle Royale came around the same time, a decade ago, which I have my doubts. Actually, let me look that up. I want to make sure I'm correct on that information, because I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to look like an idiot on that. So yeah, that was terrible. And the one thing that is Oh, it came out in 2000, so I was close. Oh, kind of. I said in 80s or 90s. So, yeah, alright, whatever. So, yeah, it's very coincidental that he had not seen Battle Royale debate because Mirai Nikki is very close to Battle Royale. So yeah, the show is just terrible. Writing's terrible. Characters are unlikable. The plot is super just. I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk more about that. This show, it's flat out terrible. In fact, it's only beaten by Chaos Dragon because Chaos Dragon had potential and it was floundered. There was nothing in it. It's basically the best way. I was listening to something, and and they were talking about The Good Dinosaur because they had just seen it. So this was clearly 3 years ago, but they were talking about how there's no potential in Cars, but The Good Dinosaur had potential, and that's what made The Good Dinosaur the worst movie compared to Cars, because Cars had nothing to go for other than, hey, we're going to make toys out of these, and that's kind of what it is. And so, that's the same thing here. There was no potential in Mirai Nikki, at least to me. And Chaos Dragon had potential, at least to me. So, that's why I think Chaos Dragon is worse. And because he could make fun of a cliche that I hate, which is the power of love and friendship. I said I was going to talk about this. I might as well now. I do ramble a lot, so if you guys want me to talk about something else, let me know. So for future episodes, I can talk about it. I'll try to do good on letting you guys know ahead of time when I'm doing a recording, so you could at least mentally prepare on anything, so that way you could prepare yourselves. But the power of love and friendship, a cliche that kind of ruins a lot of shows. It doesn't have to necessarily even be exactly that. It could be a branch off of something similar. And I'll give an example. So, spoilers for the Soul Eater anime. I highly suggest the manga. The show is actually okay up until kind of the last third of the show. So, spoilers. So, the plot up to this point was the characters had to fight this evil demon guy. And he's evil. He is terrible and powerful. Like, two of the strongest characters, at least two of the strongest main characters. In fact, the two strong main characters could not beat him. So the main character, because she was brave, literally brave, and I swear this is how the concept of the movie Brave happened, or to at least a theory. Tell Matt Pat. Anyway, this is how I think. No, what she did was she literally beat him in one punch because she was brave. No, she kills him. This guy could swat like anything. Like, he could probably kill Wolverine. That's how powerful he was. And he got beat down by one punch because she was brave. And the thing is, it's not even that makes it what makes it worse. That's not even what makes it even. That makes it bad. What makes it worse is the show ends not even 2 minutes later. They literally start rolling the credits within 2 minutes after that happens. They don't explain how that happened. They don't explain why he was just that easily defeated. It just ends. They roll credits and it's over. That's the last episode. And I think that's why most of the anime community hates that episode. Hates the ending to this show. This is probably the best example of how terrible shows end. The best example of it, because it's terrible. It's a horrible ending to a show, and there's lots of other shows that do it. Shows like Dragon Ball, Naruto, probably My Hero Academia. I haven't seen seasons 2 and 3 yet. Excuse me. Sailor Moon, Pokemon. Just a lot of shows that just want that easy fix. They want an easy fix to an ending of an arc or of a show. And a lot of other shows I've seen, it's more common in anime than anywhere else. And it annoys me. I mean, you can talk to my friend to if he had a Twitter, I'd send you there so you can confirm with him. But yeah, that's probably the most hated cliche I have, and it's terrible. It's not good. It makes shows look terrible. It makes everything look bad. It makes whatever show look bad because it's like, oh, they went to that cheap ending. The reason why I hate it is because it's a cheap ending. It's like easy to do, and I know, and I also know that most anime is targeted towards teenagers, and I try to avoid those. But the thing is, I try to avoid those kind of shows that end with that, with the power of love and friendship and bravery and cheap endings. That, like, cheap. That's why I'm kind of glad I didn't continue watching Erased, because I heard that ending was terrible. So, yeah, that's... We need to stop with that cliche. Please stop with that cliche. That's a terrible cliche. Power of love and friendship. Oh gosh, I'm getting a headache just thinking about it. And no, that's not because I'm wearing a beanie and it's annoying. And it's hot. It's hot and it's wet, and I'm wearing a beanie. So yeah, that's. Man, I went on a tangent. I don't know what else I was gonna say about that. I wonder if anyone has suggestions on anime I could look forward to? Because the only one I'm looking forward to is Fully Cooley. And I said this last week, or whenever we recorded last, was if you told me 6 years ago that I would be anticipating an anime show, I'd laugh at you and call you stupid because I hated anime. Hey, in 2004, like I said, 2004, the spring of 2014 was what made me like anime. So, yeah. Crap, I had more to say. I don't remember. I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry. I don't. Yeah, well, that's probably going to be it then. I have nothing else. I had more to say. I'll probably say it next week. I'll try to think of more. Hopefully, I'm going to have Kami on here with me. Puffy Yami Yumi. That's what made me think of that. Whoever saw that show, I don't remember. Anyway. But hopefully I'll have to bounce off of me so we can talk more next week. And yeah, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll put links to my wherever I'm going down in my YouTube channel. And I'll see you guys. Hold on. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.